What's up, everybody? You are watching, you are listening to the Matt Madness Wrestling Podcast live on YouTube. I'm your host for tonight, Aaron Lloyd. Yeah, thank you. I'm joined with my guy, X2 Fly, Eric Trembicki. Welcome back, baby.
Hey. Oh my God, it sounded like it came from Jersey.
I'm sure you love the Hill Heat. So as always, guys, subscribe on all podcast platforms, iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, and Stitcher. Use code MMadness at Ringside Collectibles. Use 10% off. It's the holiday season time. So it's been a very, very long time. Things have been hectic.
I don't even know how to do this anymore.
Neither did I. October was rough. I forgot all about the election year. I did my black job. So the election took up a lot of time. And now I'm Santa's little helper. So a lot's been going on, but I'm here. I missed you. I missed this. I missed you guys. How have you been?
I've been good. I've been living. I've been loving.
Yes, you have.
I've been drinking.
As always. So we had a lot since, God, it's almost 2 months, I think. So in that time frame, let's see what's happened. So the Bloodline stories, excellent as always.
Yeet.
What else happened? AEW, damn.
No yeet.
Damn. What else? Samantha Irvin left. No, damn. Not you, Samantha, just the fact that you left. That's what it is. And also before I forget, and also Kendrick dropped. So, what'd you watch in our hiatus?
I don't want to say everything.
You could just skim through it.
Monday Night
might
Raw,
be a lot, might not be too much.
Survivor Series, nothing else worth mentioning.
Yeah, so a lot. So for me, I basically caught up with a lot of what was going on. I did watch I've been watching NXT because, like I said, Burns been doing a great job down there, killing it. I've been enjoying that a lot. I did not finish the last AEW pay-per-view Full Gear. I did not finish it. I enjoyed the Survivor Series. I enjoyed Crown Jewel was okay.
I did see Full Gear except the last two matches because the stream I got from a good friend of the show, Prep, didn't it tapped out right when it got to the Lashley match and then would never resurface.
Okay, yeah, and I got to the Mercedes and Chris Statlander match. That was the match that I heard the most about. So I wanted to make sure I watched that and salute to Mercedes and Chris Statlander. Salute, really sure. Chris Statlander was in two of the best women's matches of the year, in my opinion, the last few months. So, and I watched Cobra Kai. Britt Baker was in Cobra Kai as a sensei. I'm not sure if you're a Cobra Kai watcher, but
I am. I'm all caught up. Wait,
okay.
I didn't even know you were, or you just watched it for her.
No, I've always watched Cobra Kai.
You ever drink any Coors Banquets lately?
No.
The season's so good. I bought a 6-pack of it just to pay a little homage. But yeah, she was so good in it. It was really cool to see her in it. It's awesome to see she can play a high schooler.
Well, she was a sensei, so she didn't count as a high schooler. But I did watch that. We took Leah to see Moana 2 this past weekend. Moana 2 saw me because I was passed out for the last 30 minutes of the movie. But good movie overall. We were a little late. We had a pretzel bite issue. They weren't ready in time. And the movie theater by my house, when they tell you the show time, that's the time it starts. So that's about it for me.
They're not including the previews?
No, my show time was 1:50. Every time I've gone to that movie theater, the show starts at that time.
That's so Delaware.
I was like, oh, okay. So like the first 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm lost. So I got to try to get filled in. And it didn't help that I passed out at the end. So that didn't help at all. But I enjoyed myself. Moana 2 saw me, so I hope they enjoyed themselves watching me too. So we had Survivor Series this past weekend. Give me your thoughts.
Survivor Series I thought was great. Trying to remember if I started late. Yeah, I did start late. So I was doing some running around. I didn't get to watch the U.S. title match. But I would say the show overall was a showstopper. I enjoyed it. Obviously, you can always want more or, dream about booking it something a little differently. But the theatrics in the men's war game match was awesome. The women's spots were good in their match. That IC title triple threat match, awesome. Everything between Punk and Reigns, cinema, very, very enjoyable. I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a showstopper as well. I really did enjoy. Like you hit on right at the top when you talked about the IC title match. That whole story of Sheamus never winning the IC title, they could tell me that story every time because every time they tell it, it's fantastic. And
you thought he had it.
Yeah, and Ludwig Kaiser, this more of a vicious side to Ludwig Kaiser, I'm really enjoying because, like I said, his role in that, like you said, like he almost had it and he pulled him out, and Sheamus's face and Ludwig's face, like staring at each other, just so mad at each other, was perfect. I thought that match was awesome. Braun Breaker, as we always talk about on the show, is an absolute star in the making. The U.S. title match, I really did enjoy. Nakamura's entrance has like a samurai. It kind of gives you like Ninja Turtle vibes from Master Splinter. Not Splinter. Shredder. I'm sorry. It gives you Shredder vibes. So when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is really actually awesome. And they told a really good story of LA Knight being off his game and Nakamura being inside. And LA Knight, he played his role perfectly. He came down. He didn't look like himself and things like that. And Nakamura got the win. Thought it was a little early, but they validated it very well. Go ahead.
So I didn't watch the match, and you brought up a perfect thing that I was going to ask. So if they're telling the story over commentary about him not being on his game, I also thought it was interesting. I saw a clip about how like it almost looked like, LA was pissed he was losing because during his entrance, I guess there was something off, and then he drops the belt. Very much reminded me about, I think it was Samoa Joe when he lost the U.S. title, something similar. I feel like he also did something like that with the TNT title. But it's kind of funny. I feel like, I recall this again with the U.S. title a time or two, where like somebody was offering their entrance. You're like, oh shit, this is it. This is where they're changing it. I don't know if you felt that way or if you caught that.
No, I did notice it. Like the way, the way you said, the way he was holding the title, the way he was walking the ring didn't seem like his normal confident self. And they hit on that right away. When you rewatch the match, you'll hear immediately that they talked about how much off his game he is, and even when Nakamura telling him that, look, you're nothing without that title, and that match played out perfectly in that way as well. And women's war game match, fantastic. I wanted to do a show so bad last week because I wanted to talk about the possibility of Tiffany cashing in war games, and she didn't come out with the briefcase, but it was hidden in the trash. And I thought that was a nice touch because the possibility of her being able to cash in that hardcore situation with both champions in the middle of the ring. So they did a good job showing that. I thought it was really good. And we'll get to the women's division in a second. But I really did enjoy it. And like you said, the men's war games match, pure cinema. Couldn't have been written any better, in my opinion. Did you freeze? Hold on, guys. I think we lost him. Guys. You there, buddy? All right, guys. So, like I was saying about the men's war games match, the idea of Punk and Reigns Punk acting like the fact that this was just a favor, I thought was really great because it played out very well in this match. Like even like I'm not sure if everybody has seen the meme of like you see Punk and Reigns on each end of the cage, and it says like when two married men are forced to hang out when their wives are hanging out. I thought that was really good. And it's interesting to see what's actually going to happen when it comes to like the favor that Paul Heyman owes Punk. So I can't wait to actually see that and what's going to happen. And the Roman Reigns thing is interesting too, because like now where does he go? Because at this point it's like we have to understand like is The Rock really coming back for WrestleMania? Because that was a report coming in to I believe after Bad Blood. We weren't sure if he was coming back. and everybody kept saying that. And everybody kept saying that The Rock wasn't going to be at WrestleMania. But now we kind of have inklings that he might not be, because what's this Punk interaction doing? What's this Punk favor from Paul Heyman actually going to be? And they could do a bunch of different directions. We saw the return of Drew McIntyre on Monday Night on Raw. We saw Seth basically about to turn heel at this point. And Sami Zayn pointed out a good point on Raw Monday night, saying that, look, Roman Reigns is this way because of you. And then that's actually true, because this whole Seth Rollins Roman Reigns storyline is 10 years old, and they can go back to it at any time. And a couple of years ago, they had that match at the Rumble that Rollins won by disqualification, and then they had the stuff earlier on this year in WrestleMania season. So there's a lot they actually go on here, and we have to think about what's going to happen with McIntyre coming back, or Rollins and McIntyre going to form some kind of stable, or they're going to be some kind of power trip to take on Reigns and Punk, because they have two common enemies in Roman Reigns and CM Punk. And also, don't forget, Drew McIntyre also has some history of Roman Reigns in the bloodline as well. So there's a lot of meat on the bone when it comes to these four guys. And we got Saturday night main event coming up. Maybe we'll get a tag match with those four. Royal Rumble season is coming up, and also remember that Paul Heyman's favor is going to come into play at a certain point in time. So a lot of interesting things that can actually happen between now and Saturday night main event, even, and that's only a week out. So a lot of interesting things to talk about coming up in the next couple of weeks, guys. Also, back to the women. We got a lot going on with the women. The women have been killing it in WWE recently. The women's War Games match was fantastic. Prior to Crown Jewel, I would say the women's division booking was pretty lackluster for the most part. Okay, got you back, buddy. I was holding it down. I don't know if you heard me, but I was holding it down.
I'll tell you who's holding it down, my neighbors. You meet the lady next door?
I have not.
Oh my God. She smokes, I don't know how many cigarettes a day she smokes, but man, her and her niece, I just heard cussing each other out.
Oh man, that'd been good. That'd been good audio. That's
more comedic than an episode of Wednesday Night Dynamite.
All right. So while you were gone, I was giving my thoughts on Roman Reigns and CM Punk, and also
now back in time. And
then the inclusion now of Rollins and McIntyre, because Rollins has a beef with Reigns this entire time. And Sami Zayn did a great job on Raw talking about that, saying, look, Roman's this way because of you. Roman's this way because of you. It's your fault. And now we got McIntyre back. Now, and I said while you were gone, are they going to form some kind of power trip because they have common enemies? So it's a lot of interesting things that you actually come out this with. And we have Saturday night main event coming up next weekend. Maybe we'll get some kind of tag match possibly, or at the Rumble. But there's a lot that can happen, and a lot can happen even leading into next weekend, because we still have SmackDown tomorrow, and then we have Raw and SmackDown next week. So your thoughts on?
So, I mean, the thing that I thought was so good about it is I did not see Drew being a return. I was not banking on that spot. I assumed that. I said, man, I guess we really turning Seth full heel, like him attacking Jay. That was weird. And then when you had McIntyre clock that Claymore after the match, I was like, ooh, okay, this is the direction I want to go. Phenomenal episode of Raw. Everything going on with Punk. You know, I've said this before in recent weeks, and this is where I feel like it's the recent months, maybe the last year. I feel like actually like War Games last year, maybe War Games 2 years ago. The reason I say WWE is so good right now, it's like it's not even fun to fantasy book, or like I just don't care to. Like, you know, there always could be that little critique, like, yeah, did I want Final Boss to show up after the main event on Sunday? Yeah, 100%. Or Saturday? Did I want that? Of course. But like, I'm just going along for the ride. And meanwhile, we'll get to it, but other places it's just like, man, I just want to I could fantasy book for days on how to make it better. But I mean, like this, I love where like, and nothing's predictable. Like it really isn't. like I'm at least my opinion, like McIntyre showing up on Monday, like how we just for the first time in 11, 12 years, we're getting a 2-hour Raw. And in 2 hours, they're giving us a banger. And I'm really sitting there. I'm like, I don't see how this show's going to go.
Yeah, Raw's been great for especially since it's going back to 2 hours. It's amazing what 2 hours can change, and we love you too, Prep. But it's amazing what they can actually do with
Might be a little stinky, Prep.
All right, so is that it for Survivor Series for you?
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to mention something else about Raw, but I think you're about to get to that right now.
Go ahead.
Look, it's hard to leave the memories alone. Be happy we were there. I mean, day one of this podcast, I feel like maybe it wasn't day one, it was year one, drinking out of a certain coffee mug while we were recording. The New Day implosion on Monday Night Raw. Another thing, the way it happened, just not what I saw coming. I mean, it wasn't Festival of Friendship good, but it was damn near close.
Yeah, without it's like I think the verbal abuse made it kind of like better in a way. Like just the verbal back and forth was just like hurtful enough, especially since Big E can't do anything. And to say Woods and Kofi, they're not wrong. It's like, where were you this whole time? like you got to go sit at your desk, and so that they're not really wrong.
No, relax. I mean, the guy was trying to take care of his health, mentally and physically.
And then they brought up his new girlfriend, which I thought was perfect because that's the most we've seen him pop out lately.
Did you see her Twitter response?
I did not. I heard about it. I have not seen it personally.
She came at both of them like, "Hey, I was getting ready to cook them dinner, like their feral diets, blah blah blah. I need to make this." And then she said, "If I'm gonna misquote it because I don't think she said Burger King crown." She was like, if I was with a group for 10 years and the best thing I had to show it was a Burger King crown, I'd be upset too."
She's so good. Salute to her for that.
So good.
For that. But that
so obviously it was good even without it. But like when there was an interview E did that went viral throughout the day, and it was talking about like, if my career is over, and I was like, this could be a good swerve. Like maybe he could come back and get physical. But when he came out and it started going, I was like, all right, maybe he's going to pull them apart. Maybe they are going to keep this going. Maybe him and Kofi will be together. And then when you have what you almost think isn't possible, you get Kofi, one of the most lovable guys on the roster, getting heat. And he's healing it up. And I'm like, oh, shit. They're really – the Big E is probably the only person on the roster that Kofi could get heat against, because like anyone else, it would just be face versus face. Like who else could Kofi go against but him going against his brother? Oh man, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, and another thing about the New Day is like ever since Big E got hurt, for the most part, you can tell the New Day's kind of felt out of place because like also like they've been together for 10 years. So for them, it's like, what else can you do? What else can they do? It's like they have that longevity, whereas it's like, all right, we know you guys are decorated, but it's like, all right, what can you guys do now? And this is the only thing they can actually do now. So I'm not sure if the New Day technically is over and they just will be Kofi and Woods or change.
I would hope drop the name. I would hope.
Yeah, I would hope so too. We already know we're going to get a whole new entrance and music probably from them, but it's definitely a facelift that was needed for those two. But 100%. Even like the back and forth between him and Kofi for the past couple of months, it's been excellent. It's been warranted and it's given these guys a new fresh start. And I'm looking forward to see what's going to actually happen.
The other thing that's been so good with it is you almost would have thought it would have been so predictable. You would have just I thought we had a scheduled match. I thought we were going to have a ceremony and then we were going to have a scheduled Monday Night Raw, Kofi versus Xavier. And for the two of them to leave with that heel heat against Big E, I was like, oh, what the hell did they just do? They figured it out. And again, not predictable. I'm always here. And I was explaining to somebody that's never watched wrestling, I'm sitting there like, this is awesome. And they're like, oh my God. And they're like, but they're like, you like that guy. Why is this so? I was like, because I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, it was definitely something because like I wasn't sure if he was gonna get physical because maybe he might be cleared because like they keep saying all kinds of things when it comes to him, but it wasn't. It was just them basically kicking him out the New Day, and I guess the New Day won't be anymore. But definitely something that was needed for these two, and the fact that they kind of found a common ground. Like I said, they were beefing for months at this time and couldn't see eye to eye, but they found a common ground with E not being there for them. It's just those two because they've been there for each other. So I guess you could say it's a beautiful story for them to come together.
So,
But
so the one thing that had me like thinking very optimistically for E, there was a viral collage picture that went around about a week or two ago, where it had Sheamus, Rey Mysterio, Edge, Daniel Bryan, and maybe somebody else. And these are all people that are known for getting stem cell surgery and being successfully back to the ring from it. So I was like, wait, everyone but E is back in the ring. Is this to tell that he's coming back now?
yeah, definitely. But like that's something they've been talking about for a long time. We haven't known. We're hoping that he can come back, but we'll just have to wait and see. But if that's it for him, then a hell of a write-off, in my opinion.
A hell of a write-off, like as far as like hell of a run, or is it man, I feel like it can't be.
Well, I think he'll still have his desk job, as Wood said. But I would love just like interactions for him, like them to interact with him, like at their desk, at his desk job. Because you have to think that with this new repackage, that they're going to win the tag team titles. You have to assume that because Finn and JD, they haven't done anything with those titles in a long time.
Or I mean, a long time. They've had them for 100+ days, defended them twice.
Yeah, so they're
arguably the worst tag reign of all time.
Yeah, you have to think that those two would probably be the next in line to win the tag team titles.
It'd just be a little weird to drop it like heel to heel, but we shall see.
All right, now the next thing I want to talk about, I've been really excited to talk about this too because this is my thing. So we got 2 women's mid-card titles introduced: the WUS title and the WIC.
This is your thing?
The women.
Okay.
Ladies love Bela. So the women got their mid-card titles. They're beautiful titles, by the way. The white straps look perfect on them. And I'll let you take this one first before I go. What are your thoughts on the titles and what this means for the women and also your first champions? And I'll tell you this right now. There's not a bracket for the women's IC title. There's just triple threat matches, 2 triple threat matches announced for Raw Monday night.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I mean, I think this is going to put it like somewhere between 16 and 19 active titles in the full WWE brand. But, whether, it's almost at this point right now, currently the women's tag titles are the most focal tag titles in WWE. So that's cool. Let's, give the women's, a singles title. In a lot of ways, people have always said that would be better than the tag titles because the tag teams have been so wishy-washy. The tag titles over the history of their inception have just been kind of wasteful. They've been cursed. So I'm looking forward to this. It's a fan favorite. Like I love the idea. Yeah. What's it called? What's Chelsea on right now? SmackDown?
SmackDown. She's in the U.S. title. She's facing Bayley on SmackDown.
Personally, all right. I personally want and think Bayley is a really good. You said she's facing Bayley. Oh yeah, because they're past the triple threats. I would like Bayley to win. I know a lot of people are on the internet because the name value. I know a lot of people are clamoring for her or Dakota Kai. Little pun intended, and if you know. I think when you go off the lineage of the men's Intercontinental title, Pat Patterson being the first champion, Dakota Kai being the first women's IC champion, there's a little nod there, and I support that. However, I do think somebody like Bayley who's longtime fan, has your first ever women's Grand Slam champion, has won everything. I love the idea of her. Like, it's somebody with name value. It makes the title mean something. Outside of her, I did love the idea of maybe Charlotte returning. Maybe she'll return for the IC title. But yeah, I would like Bayley to win, but I could see Dakota winning. I can see it going either way. They're the two I'm clamoring for. Shout out to Chelsea, see what she can do, but it's all it's exciting. Again, it's one of those things. I'm throwing 3 names out there right now, and it's not predictable. That's always the goal.
So you already know my answer for anything in the women's division is Chelsea Green. Anything. So but I do think Bayley will win. I think Bayley's the perfect person to hold it, to be the first WUS championship holder. I do agree with you on that. And
I love that you just saying W.
Yeah, because I said, I watched WNBA, so they call it the W, so WUS. So it works, and it saves me some breaths also. So I do think Bayley's the perfect to be the WUS champion, and also I think the perfect catalyst for this to set this up was the women's North American title. Because I talk about this all the time on NXT, and not sure if you watch on a regular basis, but the way Byrne gets all those women on television is fantastic. There's sometimes a lot, we got Fatal Influence, we got Jada Parker and Lola Vice going at Kalani Jordan, Gigi Dolan's back. They get so many women on TV in that 2-hour time span. So it's in the women's North American title, I thought was booked to perfection. And it got everything it deserved. They got all the time in the world it deserved. So that was the perfect way to set up for the WUS and WIC titles. Now, the question will be, can Triple H book like Byrne can on the shows? Because different kinds of shows, even though NXT is on the CW now. And I think these women are actually primed to actually have their own show at this point. Because we talked about this years ago. When we had the show the draft in 2016, Pash was talking about how he wanted the women to have their own show, but he knew they wouldn't segregate the audience to that. But now,
6 years later, maybe we could get a second Evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. We can. I think Evolution 2 is coming. No matter what, I think that's coming. That's on the way. They have the women to do it and to outdo the first one as well. But I think they're primed for their own show as well. I think the WNA title was perfect way to set this up to show that it could actually be done, and that they have the women to do it. The triple threat matches on Raw this is just the full bracket's not out yet, but the triple threat matches are Lyra Valkyria, Zelina, and Ivy Nile, and next one is Alba Fire, Kyrie, and Natty. I think the perfect person for the women's IC title. Granted, I don't have the other half of the bracket. My personal pick would be
W's, acronyms. Keep it going. Keep going.
My personal pick would be Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega, definitely underrated in my opinion, and she gets a lot of TV time.
I really fumbled because that's the IC title over there. I was talking about Dakota Kai, and she's over there on SmackDown, so I'm all messed up. My puns all messed up. There's only one. This ain't the first, whatever.
Yeah. So I think I don't know what the bracket looks like, but I would like to see Zelina Vega finally get her due, because also in Triple H's WWE, women get different opportunities, because we talked about this all the time. I talked about this with Io. If Vince was in charge, Io's title reign would have ended in 2 or 3 months and went back to his big stars. But instead, on the Triple H's WWE, Io got that massive long title reign and got her just due. But now in Triple H's WWE, now we're going to see so many women in and out of each in and out of each title scene. And even if you are the women's champion, the main champion, you're going to get your just due. So it's perfect to see. And I'm not sure if they're actually going to do this, because I've noticed this, and did this one time, 4 years ago in NXT. They just referred to the champion, the women's champion, as the WWE champion. Just a couple of nuggets that I picked up on that they did at Survivor Series. And I know they did it a couple of years, 4 years ago.
Maybe that's Hangman in his promo recently said, he's like, I want to win the men's AEW World Championship.
Oh Lord, we'll get to him in a little bit. But also speaking about the women, who did it for The Rock? Who attacked Jade? Thoughts on who it could be?
No freaking idea. Unfortunately, just due to my life and schedule, I am not as up to speed with NXT. I watched the 2300 episode live, but besides that, I'm Instagram clips.
Oh no, I meant who attacked Jade.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah, I was going to say, isn't her name Ava? I hope not Bianca, man, because I want a different fallout for the group. I have no idea. Hopefully somebody that's got heat and wants the tag belts. Who do you think?
So they've kind of set themselves up really well here. I thought it would be Bianca, but I don't think she would cost herself a match, even though we did see Triple H do this to the HBK years back. He did an Oscar-winning performance, but Bianca, I don't think she would cost herself a match. And Lashley talked about this on a podcast, how he wanted her in his group, but they would not turn her heel. And I don't think they're going to turn her heel for this, because Jade is 100% screams heel, in my opinion. So I personally think it's Naomi, because of the whole thing of Naomi and Bayley being friends and them kind of jaded, throwing shade at Bayley this entire time and not accepting her and stuff like that. So like, I kind of think, and then Naomi, she has a lot to gain here too, because Jade, I believe Jade was in her bracket for the WUS title, and it kind of gives her an easier pathway if she does win and get past Michin, because I do believe Naomi's going to win, and Michin won her triple threat match. So we'll have to see, but I think Naomi actually has a lot to gain in this situation. So I do think it was Naomi. And if you want to sit there and have a dark horse, maybe officially debuting Jordan Grace, maybe, because she's rumored,
January.
She's rumored to be signing when her TNA deal's up, but she has been on NXT and WWE.
Do we know when
TV.
that deal's up?
I thought it was January. Could be wrong, but I thought it was January.
Yeah, that would be good. Man, that would make. So, like, we obviously give the nod to Chelsea and Dakota, but like, you think like Dakota's been there since what, 16, 17?
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea in and out of the company. She obviously has the fanfare. As you and I as collectors, obviously there's a little love to show there. Bayley, we get with the smart. There's the reason, the company girl, the longevity, the fan base. I love the idea of Zelina winning. But boy, what a statement. If you got this girl that has shown up in the Rumble, in NXT with a competitor's championship, and if she shows up, debuts on the main roster, and becomes the first ever Intercontinental champion, yeah, that'd be strong. She deserves it. I like that take. I think that honestly, with like we just know about those two triple threats, if she wins it, I think that's the coolest scenario. I am going to stick to I don't know her health situation. I think, and maybe it's just because it's been predicted in the SmackDown one. I thought when Jade was hurt, I thought Charlotte was going to take her spot. Who ended up taking her spot?
I don't remember.
I think it's someone from NXT. Davenport, I'm not sure.
Oh, it was Lash. It was Lash.
Yes. Yeah, I like the idea of Charlotte returning. I miss her. I know a lot of people may or may not. But she's not 16 titles yet, is she?
Not yet. Almost. I think it's 14, 13.
With those accolades, she's won everything. The two new women's belts, she didn't win either of those yet, right?
No.
Yeah, but like obviously they're just the same thing, different name, different design. But like for her to come there, be the first women's IC champion, I think it makes a little more sense for the U.S. title because her father has, a good lineage with the U.S. title. But still, I mean, he did win the IC title as well. I think he's the oldest Intercontinental champion. Yeah, I'm here. I would love that. I would love Charlotte to return. I even like the idea. I like the idea of a surprise. Somebody that's not active on the roster. Like here, the 10-year-old in me is going to come out. it's rumored like Trish with a match or two more. I'd love for Trish, for the namesake, for like her to be the first champion, give her that one last title rub, defend the title twice, drop it. I like the idea of a legend coming in or somebody debuting, somebody coming up from NXT, a return like Charlotte, or somebody like, man, Jordan Grace, I think is, if that's possible, that's the coolest booking possible.
Or I just thought about this too. How about a return in Becky?
Well, you got to figure the matches haven't even started yet. They're going to start on December 9th? Yeah, that's definitely possible.
Well, not to be in the tournament, just to be revealed as her attacker, because that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah. I like that. I know. I'd like to see Becky. I'd like to see Becky win the IC title too. I like that idea, but my one disappointment. Now I'm thinking you're really right, because if you think about it, I feel like there's a chance they could prolong this off until like the last match being like debuting on Netflix, and she returns for that.
Yeah. So the finals for the WIC is on the premiere of Raw on Netflix.
Okay.
And the US will be at main event, Saturday's Night Main Event.
I do wish, my one little complaint, but again, I know in pro wrestling we gotta have 1,000 tournaments per year. I do wish they could have done it different. And I know we did this. Who did Becky win the world title in a battle royal?
Yeah, she won when Rhea had to vacate it from injury.
Yeah, so I guess it would have been too similar, because it would also been on the Raw brand. I like the idea of SmackDown does a tournament, Raw does a battle royal, just to differentiate the two, but neither here nor there.
All right. So also, I know you want to talk about this one thing about AEW. Eric Bischoff, our good buddy, Eazy-E, he made he made a couple of comments about, actually, let's not stop there. This is one thing we forgot to talk about because I lost you for a second. What do you think Punk's favor is?
Leave the bloodline, represent him.
I think I kind of think that's a little too easy.
I would love to be wrong. I'd love to be wrong.
Because it's
Roman has no title if what other easy guess is there?
No, I think granted, like when you were gone, I talked about this. Yeah, I just gave out a lot. So with McIntyre and Rollins possibly working together, we might get Roman and Punk more and more. Now, I threw out the thought of maybe Heyman helps Punk win the Rumble. I think Roman's going to end up being in the Royal Rumble match. So maybe Punk helps Punk win. Maybe Heyman helps Punk win the Rumble match. Thought about that, because Punk has always been hell bent about going to WrestleMania, but I don't think he has to worry about that, because I think that match with Rollins is so much set in stone, because they laid the groundwork for that with him helping the Bloodlines. Like, you really going to help these guys? So it's a lot to actually come to fruition, or they could just play it out even longer than maybe we even think, that we might even forget about it. And it comes in like the most opportune time.
I'm not sure. There's so many ways to play it. It's a hard one. It's one of those things, because I'm a fan of the Rumble. How many times has a manager helped somebody win that match? Never.
I don't think so.
So it's that's where I feel like, yeah, you want to help him win the Rumble? That's him representing him. It's not going to be a one-off. Hey, come manage me for this. It's going to be leave them. It's going to be something wild.
Oh no, I said help him, distract Reigns or somebody, or distract somebody, something that would really benefit Punk in this situation.
Yeah.
But it's so much because we know Punk pretty much has a collision course to set with Rollins at WrestleMania. So it's like I said, they could have this in their back pocket, and you think of this, and they could just lay the seeds, and you kind of forget about it, and they could just come out of nowhere with something that we would not think of. And I trust Triple H and WWE to actually do that.
I don't know. I don't know. I could see it going a bunch of different ways, but I'm excited and enjoying the ride.
All right. So you sent me something about Eric Bischoff making some comments about AEW is dead. Now, I did see he was on Ariel Hawani's show, and I sent you a clip because I wasn't quite sure what you were talking about. But the Ariel clip was the most recent one because it happened yesterday.
Yeah. Yep.
And then this other clip I sent you was with him talking to Conrad on 83 Weeks. Now, the 83 Weeks conversation, I watched that too in the Ariel Hawani. So I'll play a clip from the 83 Weeks show. And I'll tell you this right now, Conrad's more optimistic than me. If he's saying something's bad, that's bad. Like that's saying a lot. Let me see if I could do this correctly. All right. Here we go. Play right here.
Starts with Tony Khan. It starts with the lack of vision, absolute lack of understanding, zero comprehension of what the wrestling audience, the 3 to 5 million active wrestling fans, depending on who you believe, that do tune into wrestling each and every week. That's your audience. It's not Dave Meltzer's fucking figure 4 online dirt sheet universe, but that's who Tony Khan is booking to. Everything that's done in AEW is done from the perspective of Tony Khan's fandom. And unfortunately, Tony Khan's fandom doesn't represent the other 98.8% of people that enjoy professional wrestling. Tony's booking for himself in his own fantasy. There's nothing resembling a thought process, creative or otherwise, as you just pointed out. That's a marketing positioning opportunity. It's reaching an audience, as you just said, that you don't normally reach.
Right.
And it's fun. It should be fun. It shouldn't be taken seriously. And the internet wrestling community, which are the simps that follow the Dave Meltzer line of thinking about what professional wrestling should be, they have zero creativity. They live in a little bubble. They're only comfortable with people just like them. And they just don't have any vision themselves. And that's who Tony Khan is, it's the cage match ranking crowd, along with Dave Meltzer. It's just such a waste of opportunity. And Tony probably doesn't care about wasting his money. He's got so much of it, it doesn't matter.
All right. Oh God. Oh no. Damn ads. Okay. So that pretty much summed up everything that he said on Ariel Hawani's show, but I thought that was a bit more detailed than the Ariel Hawani because that was a little bit shorter on his show and he didn't go on a complete deep dive. So I'll let you take this first. Your thoughts, because you brought this to my attention. So go ahead.
So again, as a shill for the brand, Eric and I love Eric Bischoffs. Eric, among a lot of people, have always been critical of the company, but I don't know if we want to call it a favor to Cody or the company being in a different standpoint. There was a point, Bischoff was on the show. He was on early Dynamites, so he was open to there being a new company and XYZ and XYZ. He wasn't always negative about it. And it's just like how I was saying how WWE has been so good with storytelling for several weeks. And I was like, no, wait, months. No, wait, War Games last year. Oh my God, War Games 2 years ago. We're like asking me my prediction on certain main event storylines lately for almost 2 years. I'm like, I don't really care to give one because it's so good. It's so good, the weekly show, that I'm not concerned with giving a prediction because I'm just enjoying the show. Now, meanwhile, I've been, unfortunately, for a similar amount of time, so lost with AEW where it's like all I can think about is I can't think about what they're about to do, because week in and week out, I'm like, what they're going to do is probably going to disappoint me. And all I can think of is, what would make it better? What could they do that would make this better? And I'm just constantly like scratching my head, like, they could do this, they could do that, they could do this, they could do that. Or like, Raw's been around now, what, 30 years, 40 years, 30
32.
something, 32 years. You know, it's funny because obviously there's been a lot of bad Raws. And then you when you think about like certain like NXT talent or whatever, and I hate to compare a 32-year-old show against a 5-year-old show, but like you would think about like if X amount of years ago, somebody from NXT debuts on Raw, and if it was their debut or if it was like 6 months into it, and if they're main eventing Raw, you're like, man, that's actually pretty cool. Good for them. They're main eventing Raw. But I find myself for the past 8 months, a year and a half, I'm watching, get to Dynamite, I get to the main event, I'm like, why is this the main event? Why is this closing the show? This doesn't matter. That match at 8 o'clock, 8:15, that was better. That was more important. The show that started, the match at the 9 o'clock hour or 10 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour, that was more important. Why are these two like? And I'm sitting there, and I was like, I liked watching the show. I'm like, I found myself a lot of times later, the main event starts. Cool. Am I behind? Because I'll just fast forward to the end. I don't even care to see the match. Or there's barely a storyline going on, or it's a storyline I don't care about. There's no title, no pomp and circumstance. You know, there's no stakes to the match. You know, I was just talking about how many titles WWE's got, but it's a 40, 50-year-old company with all these belts. The AEW has similar amount of championships, and it's a 5-year-old company. Now, granted, they're holding Ring of Honor with, 20 plus year lineage for some of their titles, but nonetheless, they don't even know what they're doing with those half the time. Then, just I'm venting. They're bad. They're bad way of like finishing. I mean, the worst, I would argue, this recent MJF Adam Cole double turn.
Oh, it's terrible. Oh my God. Go ahead.
It's the worst double turn in the history of wrestling. And I like both guys to an extent. Adam Cole, I never want to be one of those guys that like, I don't believe in like, I'm optimistic to any wrestler I like being a babyface. I like when people say Seth Rollins is better as a heel, I like him as a babyface. Like I don't want him turning a heel right now because I'm a Rollins fan. Adam Cole, I'm usually cool. Everything he did as a babyface in AEW, I was here for. Mercedes Moné heat with him right now. In Dynamite, they I feel like this is not how they always did the Diamond Ring Battle Royal, but him and Kyle O'Reilly were the last two. So they have a match in a week or two, and the winner is going to go into the pay-per-view to face MJF for the ring. So you knew Adam Cole was going to the end because he was the only one that got an entrance. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, again, I'm not trying to be hating on Cole like this, but I'm sitting there and I'm like, you got some big bad MFs in this ring. You got some guys with some good win streaks. You got some guys that have been in AEW day one. You got this guy, and I'm, again, not trying to be ignorant, but you got this guy who's had 3 or 4 matches since he was a Ring of Honor tag champion, jumped off the stage, broke his ankle, and he gets all the glitz and the glamour. Like, literally, I feel like they're trying to portray him like Austin coming into Raw to win a battle royal. We're like, Austin's gonna win. Is it that obvious that Adam Cole, like the only people smaller than him in the match was all 4 of Top Flight. I hope it's gonna be him versus Kyle O'Reilly, and I'd rather see Kyle O'Reilly win. MJF turning heel again. He's a phenomenal heel. He outdid himself as a babyface. they're wasting him, whatever the hell they're doing. I know he's in Hollywood doing things or whatever. The guy can go in the ring. The guy can do both. He can be babyface. He can be heel. Turning him heel with no explanations make no sense. None. Wasting Wardlow again. I don't know. I say all that before we come off with, my optimistic idea. Do you have any venting you would like to do about said company?
Yeah, I will. Well, the main thing, like we already know how I feel about Tony Khan when he talking. Tony Khan, stay off Twitter.
Shut up, bitch.
Thank you.
Shut up.
Thank you. So you talked about Wardlow. I'm trying to equivalent an NFL fumble that I could think of that was that bad, because I talked about this after he got that feud with MJF. He should have been skyrocketed to the top of the card. And then what was he, TNT champion after that?
Maybe a two-time TNT. Maybe a two-time TNT. Yeah.
And you just talked
both
about
runs are forgettable.
Yeah, and you just talked about the Adam Cole MJF thing. Last year when the devil got revealed and that promo, we talked about how stupid that promo was with Adam Cole cutting, because one, he can't wrestle. So he's not going to be on TV. And then he's in the promo, he says, we're going to win all the titles and Wardlow's going to win the world title and give it to me, which I'm like, what? That makes absolutely positively no sense. And now you got this double turn. It's like, huh? Like, where'd this come from? Why are you cheering for Adam Cole now?
Everyone has treated him like that. That's literally how MJF treated him.
It's wild. Now, look, AEW, they have done some really good things. I've rated AEW at the year-end shows fairly. They won my match of the years. They won my superstars of the year. They won my women's superstars. They won my breakout stars of the year. So they do good things. I enjoy Mariah May. I enjoy MJF. I've enjoyed Tony Storm. I've enjoyed a lot. But the way Eric Bischoff has said, and I've been in the same boat, they do not book to a wide audience. They book to that small wrestling group. And on national television, that's not going to succeed. The stories are not good. They don't make sense. And and another thing which really hurts them is because WWE is in the right hands now. You're not a big football guy, so I'm not sure if you're going to get this analogy, but WWE was the Dallas Cowboys and Vince McMahon was Jerry Jones. Vince McMahon was getting in the way of the company's success for it to be bigger. And Jerry Jones is in the way of the Cowboys being bigger. They've done some decent things, but they could be so much better if they had different decision making. And now that Vince is gone, that terrible WWE product that we shit on for 6 years of this show is no longer there. So AEW is not that fresh show anymore. It's not
it was so good for a period of time.
It's not that breath of fresh air anymore. The peak was end of 21-22. That was the peak of AEW. And now it's all gone. And in summer 22, that's when Vince left. And that's when WWE was in the right hands. So now when it's in the right hands of who we want it to be in, and I talked about this too. You were able to forgive AEW for mistakes early on. You can't, there's only but so many times you're going to take those mistakes that they continuously do. And it's showing now because WWE doesn't have those mistakes anymore. Even though WWE does make mistakes, they're still on fire and they're in the right hands right now. In AEW, they have to play. It's not even a contest anymore. And for WWE, ratings matter. They do not matter at all because they're on Netflix now. Yeah. They got so big that they're on Netflix. Ratings don't mean a damn thing to them at this point. AEW, they're going to be on Max, but that's still under the Warner Brothers umbrella. It's not them moving on to somebody else.
Yeah, 100%.
So when it comes,
funny thing, it's going to be cooler for me because I was thinking about it when I was streaming Full Gear. I was like, man. Then I was thinking about like Sting's retirement match. I was like, I streamed that.
Yeah, that would.
But in my head, what I'm saying is, I haven't bought an AEW pay-per-view since either World's End or Full Gear. So like me, who is like day one AEW pay-per-view every year, I'm buying it. I want to support. But now I just want a straight year where every show I'll stream it, or I don't care to watch. I'll watch it after the fact. I'll watch a replay. I didn't watch any of them. Like Sting's retirement show, I know I watched that full thing off my phone, and I streamed some of it to my TV. But like, I haven't bought a show in a year. The card hasn't been that enticing. Like, I was just real giddy because like the house was clean. I was like, all right, cool. Maybe this is worth buying. And I remember like the 2 matches I wanted to see, I didn't get to watch, but like, I'm just like, all right, cool. Good thing I saved my money.
Yeah, and also, like not me giving AEW the credit. That Sting final match, that is still probably my favorite match this year. It's going to be in the top 5 for match of the year for me. It's going to be. So I'm being 100% fair here. And no matter what they do, they still try. They bring Ricochet in, but the way WWE is, it's like, okay, go ahead, take them. Like Mercedes, you want to take them. One of my favorite lines, Jay-Z lines, was this. I heard Mofo saying they may hold. Okay, so make another hold. NXT's doing that. How many Mercedes Moné / Sasha Bankses are there in NXT? Specifically, Kalani Jordan. By the way, Kalani Jordan.
Lord,
maybe better. Maybe better.
Yes. So it's like we have that. You got Sol Ruka. You got Jada Park. You got so many out. You got so many out there. Ricochet. We talked about Ricochet being an asset to WWE, but they're like, look, you don't want to resign. That's fine. You can go have a bang with Will Ospreay, but we're seeing the flaws in Ricochet's armor where we was like, okay, now I see why WWE didn't really let this guy talk or do much.
Well, also, but I hate to be that guy. Like, did we think we thought maybe this would be better for Ricochet, but did we think it was going to move the needle for the company?
No.
Something Bischoff says in the Conrad podcast, and he said it's proven that there's not a signing that's going to change the needle for the company.
Absolutely not.
Unfortunately, Adam Cole and Daniel Bryanson, whatever, on the same night didn't move the needle. Adam with Copeland didn't move the needle. Acquiring Ring of Honor didn't move the needle. The only thing you could debate, and it's so far long ago, the only thing you can ever say that may have strongly helped it for a short period of time was the signing of CM Punk.
It was.
You can say his first outburst hurt it, and I can guarantee the day he got fired, the company started going down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, then you also got this stuff because I didn't think Effie's interview was given some credit for it, but Ricky Starks just did an interview with Chris Van Vliet about not being booked, and then now he got pulled from his GCW shows. AEW is not allowing him doing that. Like, that shit is going to turn wrestling fans off too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is the one thing. You hear all these things, and this is the thing. Everybody can't be lying. And it's like the guys under contract, they'll defend the company because they have to, but you're hearing certain things from guys that also work. It's like everybody can't be lying out here. Like we know what it is. And like you said, the CM Punk signing was the only thing that actually kind of moved the needle for them. I said the end of 2021 into 22 was peak AEW. They were on the rise, and the whole Punk thing, they got the short hand of the stick because he got hurt, so they weren't able to have.
Didn't get the Summer of Punk.
Yeah, we didn't get the Summer of Punk. We weren't able to see Punk on the marquee everywhere, promoting the company, telling wrestling fans this is where you want to be. We missed. There were so many things that were left on the table when it came to CM Punk and AEW because he got hurt. So there's a little bit left on the table. And the best thing I saw all week was, I saw it today. There was 3 memes. It was a meme, 3 parts. One column is all Jungle Boy. It said, because of Jungle Boy, we got Punk versus McIntyre. Because of Jungle Boy, we got Punk and Reigns. And because of Jungle Boy, we're getting Punk and Rollins. All because of Jungle Boy.
And now Jungle Boy ain't even TNT champion.
Exactly. All because of Jack Perry. But yeah, as far as what they can do to turn around, and like my favorite, like they signed people that I love and admire. I'm a big Deonna Purrazzo fan, but she got AEW basically. She got the starter pack. You'll get your title shot, then you'll fall back to the line. The only thing she didn't do with Jericho's podcast, but she got pulled back to the line. Now she's in a tag team with Taya, and it's like I love Deonna Purrazzo, but it's like I want to see you doing so much more than this.
I didn't even know she was doing that.
I thought,
I never even see Collision.
yeah,
Like,
I thought her feud with Toni Storm was really good. I thought the match was good, but it's like, come on. And I think Collision's ending too at the end of the year. I think that's coming to an end. I'm almost positive. I saw an article about that. That at the end of the year, Collision's coming to an end.
Punk's show.
Yeah, and Punk was doing a good job booking that show, the Problem Child show, as I called it.
Oh yeah. All right, so I mean, we obviously just ripped the company apart. Fantasy booking, if there was, 1 to 3 things you would do if you had the old proverbial pencil, what would you do to save the company or make it more interesting?
Well, one, like I said, I will book it as a television show because wrestling is still a television show. I'll make it viewer friendly. I'll make sure everybody knows who everybody was. I'm not just bringing people in from Japan or Ring of Honor. I'm cutting a lot of these titles because a lot of these titles are meaningless. There will not be any Ring of Honor titles on my show. There will not.
Keep them on Ring of Honor.
Yeah, like I said,
or maybe show them on a pay-per-view, but like
they've done a better job. Like I said, like Mariah May, that's been consistent throughout the entire year. That story's been excellent. The Mercedes stuff, she's feuding with Camille now, so it's like, give or take. But the only thing,
Anna Jay, winner's company.
Yeah, and Anna Jay. So the only thing I can say is I will book it to be a TV show where everybody can just jump in. You'll know who everybody is. You know why everybody's important. I will not insult their intelligence as they said they wouldn't do when they first start this company. I would make sure that's a factor. I will eliminate most of these titles, and I will make sure everybody is represented well in the show. I'm not sure who I will put at the top of the card, but I will kind of make sure everybody has a role and everybody has a storyline.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of championship belts more than anybody, and like, it sucks because we're in the midst of the Continental Classic, but like, the most pointless championship. I don't want to say it's WWF light heavyweight territory. Like, the international title has done a lot of good things. The TNT title is the first mid-card title in AEW, so it's got to be there forever. I don't care if this thing moves fully to max. The lineage, Cody, Brody, and I'm sure other cats that are loaded with the company holding it. Come on, that like some good history, some good points to it. I like the international title, or at least I don't want to say we narrow it from 3 to 1. That'd be fine. But if we don't need 3 mid-card titles, it's freaking nuts. Also, like, the Death Riders are now doing this thing. Like, Moxley hasn't been carrying the world title. Maybe it's in the briefcase. Now they got the trios champions when they're coming out. Like, they're not even carrying their belts. It's a little weird. I don't know if they plan on doing something like at some point to make that make sense. I do have something optimistic for the Death Rider storyline making sense. And even Bischoff in his interview, he tried comparing it to they're trying to NWO it too much. And like, there's good and bad to that. Like, if it's a complete flop, yeah, they wasted it again. If they like the NWO, there was a slow burn to it. So like, yeah, maybe this is supposed to make sense like day one. Like, yeah, sure, let's give it time. Let's let it breathe. There are certain people, like, again, one of the most disheartening things to me that really killed my optimism for the company was this double turn with Cole and MJF. You can't flip-flop right back. So something else on the storyline needs to get really, really good and really hot. I think Hangman began a face turn tonight. Orange Cassidy and Jay White, which I love Jay White playing babyface. I'd love for him to be the next world champion. Him beating Mox, I think would be nuts, would be cool. But Orange Cassidy and Jay White are facing Moxley and Pac. If Hangman can turn babyface, it's not going to be till January. Kenny's returning to wrestling in New Japan. Kenny's got the storyline against the Bucks, but with the company falling apart, like, I get it. Keep the Bucks heel or whatever. But like, as much as some wrestling fans hate the Bucks AEW needs the Bucks to be babyface. I think that's one huge thing to help save the company. You need some of these day one guys to be booked right, booked strong. Their character needs to make sense. Their storyline needs to make sense, and it needs to go somewhere good. I don't know. I think there's just too much like people at the top that like shouldn't be there. I don't think that helps. I don't know. The company needs Kenny Omega.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that because I said this about the Bucks too. Since they are a tag team, there is but so much they can actually do before it gets stale. They made the heel turn, which was actually much needed. They actually took their VP thing way more. They dove into their VP characters, which I thought was fantastic because we all can relate to the whole management thing and the whole pizza party or gift card they were trying to give out. So I did enjoy that, but what else can they do? Because it's going to get stale because they are a tag team. I don't think they'll split up or whatever, but there's so much longevity you get as a tag team on a weekly television show.
So I have an argument to that. I disagree, but I don't know if they were nervous about one of them getting hurt because there was more they could do with them. I almost feel like right now they're doing this thing where like, hey, we wrestled all the dates we have to for AEW. So now they're going to New Japan. And this is what sucks. The first time I saw the advertisement on social media, they're going to New Japan and they're gonna be challenging for the New Japan tag title. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, okay, they'll hold 2 belts again. I forgot the Private Party already beat them. So like there's good, there's bad to that. Like I like Private Party. I love the homegrown day one tag, they were there for the AEW tag title tournaments. They beat the Bucks in that. Like I like the idea of them being champions. I'm here for it. But like I hate that I forgot it, especially being a belt mark. Also, so Bischoff said one other thing. This will be the last thing I'll circle back to him saying in there. He said, and maybe there's a time and day I would have argued this against someone, but he said Tony Khan has done nothing but lie to his fans. Like, wins and losses matter. Well, like they had that ranking system and it went away. And then it came back. Guess what? It's fucking gone again. The fucking day one ranking system's gone again. So it doesn't matter. Day one AEW, tag teams matter. Or the fuck they don't. I see the trios champions on Dynamite every week, and they don't even have the belts. I didn't see the tag champions. The trios champions are running around causing mayhem. They don't even got the belts. But the tag champions, which the tag titles day one, the guys holding them are day one. They're not even on the show. And I know they can only do so much, but like FTR, I know they're heavily on Collision, but like you got a great thing with them. Like, why are they never on Dynamite? I get it. Maybe that they're supposed to make people watch Collision, or at least mix the storylines. Hey, have them do something on Dynamite that makes me want to go watch Collision.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think they might need to, and again, I know you got to go back to the basics or whatever, and I know sometimes you fresh coat of paint. They either need like a complete shell shock to the company and kind of do everything, or I feel like they just need to go back to booking how they booked day one, and they got to make stuff matter. They got to and it was always an issue. Like you brought it up about indies or bringing people from Japan. They also, when they debut someone, tell us who the hell they are. Make it make sense. Also for the casual fan.
Yeah,
I mean, for 5 years, they never explained who these people are that come in the company.
And just another thing about, especially about business stuff. You can say you want to do something, but it doesn't mean it's going to hit. So you have to audible to something else. It's like, okay, we thought we want to focus on this, but it's not hidden. So we're going to have to do this. But the thing with day one AEW was, we talked about it. They did not have the star power to do a lot of the things that they wanted to do. Now they actually do. I don't think it's that hard to do a lot of these simple things. Just go back to the basics, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. I hope the best for the company. I like it's cool to have the alternative. WWE is still hitting on all cylinders. I mean, when AEW started, like I did not care about WWE. Right now, WWE is doing the best work they've been doing in over a decade, arguably the best they've been doing in over 2 decades, if not 2.5 decades. And meanwhile, I'm still here cheerleading for AEW. I still want it to make sense. Like, let's let WWE kill it, and AEW still give us something good. But meanwhile, WWE is just running to Mount Everest, and Tony Khan's over here in a 2-cylinder car having a hard time getting up the hill.
And he's worried about Trevor Lawrence being out for the season. So
he's got bigger fish to fry.
Anything else for me?
You got anything positive to say after I was just negative for 37 minutes?
Nah, I think I got everything off. I've had a lot I wanted to get off my chest for a few weeks, but I've been so busy that I couldn't get here. So I think that's pretty much everything.
Well, for our faithful long-time listeners, we'll be back much quicker than a 3-month hiatus.
Yes, so we will have the year-end show soon. I would love to be here next week to preview, and the following week to review Saturday's Night Main Event. I'm not sure if you've grown up to be an adult and not have these anymore and still have any of these, but if we can't have a fig show, we might have a fig show at the end of the year as well. But I do plan on having some content
Kurt?
for you guys. No.
Nice.
Yeah. So
you get Gunther, right? You've had it.
Yeah, I've had it for a while.
I just saw it in the wild today.
Yeah. So as always, guys. Oh, if you guys also M-Man to save 10% off your order. It's Christmas time. M-Man to save 10% off your order.
Hey, that's a good one. That's number one.
Yes. Spoilers. So I guess that's it for the show, guys. For Act 2 Flyer, Eric Trembicki, I'm Alo Aaron Lloyd. We will see you guys soon.